Despite the overwhelming turmoil plaguing Gala Island, a dark threat is festering in silence, hidden from the eyes of the public. Deep within the province of Nashua, in the heart of the werewolf kingdom, Silverstone, alarming reports have reached the throne. Werewolf spies returning from the human mainland have uncovered a disturbing trend. An increasing number of humans are willingly allowing themselves to be bitten by a mysterious and powerful vampire, making his own vampire army or cult. The motivations behind this growing fascination with vampirism remain unclear, but the implications are deadly. With each new transformation, a trail of bodies is left behind, victims of brutal, silent attacks that have gone largely unnoticed. Until now, King Ramos, the fierce and strategic ruler of the werewolves, knows the severity of what's happening. He quickly calls for an emergency royal summit, one that has not been convened in decades. It's called the Trinity Affair. This secretive and exclusive council is reserved for only the most urgent threats that could jeopardize the centuries-old Peaceful Alliance Treaty of the 1900s. The treaty, which has kept relative harmony between the four major factions, vampires, werewolves, witches, and humans, prohibits any open conflict between these groups. The fear is clear. If the treaty is broken, it could lead to a devastating civil war that would plunge the entire country into chaos and bloodshed. The meeting takes place in a hidden chamber in the center of Nashua, where King Ramos meets with Queen Stella, the cunning and powerful Queen of the Witches, and Queen Silverada, the White Queen, the cold and calculating ruler of the vampires. Tensions are high as the leaders gather, aware that the fate of their realms rests on the decisions made in this room. King Ramos, his voice laced with urgency, outlines the threat. A rogue vampire, stronger than any we've seen in generations, is on the loose, turning humans into vampires at an alarming rate. Night after night, the body count rises in silence, hidden from the humans, but we cannot ignore the danger it poses. If this continues unchecked, it could unravel everything we've built and spark a Galilean civil war. Queen Stella listens intently, her eyes narrowing with calculation as she considers the ramifications. But it is Queen Silverada who reacts first, her cold demeanor betraying a flicker of concern. For her, this isn't just about the treaty or preserving peace, it's personal. She believes that this new powerful vampire might want to march to the kingdom of the vampires, Merceville, and overthrow her from her vampire throne. Whoever this rogue is, he poses a direct challenge to her royal authority, and that is something she cannot tolerate. With a sharp, commanding tone, Queen Silverada agrees to King Ramos's proposal. I accept the idea of sending one warrior from each kingdom to track down and eliminate this rogue vampire. But understand this, I do it for the protection of my realm. If this vampire continues to be unchecked, Merceville could become his next target. I refuse to allow my kingdom to fall into chaos because of some rogue nobody upstart. We need to end this threat swiftly and decisively. Queen Stella, always one to seek balance and control, agrees as well, though her motives remain veiled. She knows that maintaining the delicate power equilibrium between the kingdoms is crucial to keeping her witches and wizards secure and in a position of influence. Her involvement is more about ensuring that neither the werewolves nor vampires gain the upper hand during this crisis. The Trinity Affair concludes with a pact. Each kingdom will send their most capable warrior on the secret mission to hunt down and destroy this powerful vampire before the humans become fully aware of the danger. The challenge lies not just in eliminating the threat, but in doing so without breaching the treaty or igniting a larger conflict with humans. As the leaders depart, the air is thick with the tension of what's to come. The stakes are high, and failure could mean the collapse of the fragile peace they've upheld for so long. Queen Stella selected a remarkable young wizard named Gorin to represent the witches in this crucial mission. From a young age, Gorin exhibited extraordinary talents that set him apart from others in the magical realm. His abilities are formidable, making him one of the most powerful wizards of his generation. Gorin possesses the rare and potent ability to absorb the energy of others, channeling it into himself to enhance his own strength. This power makes him an almost unstoppable force in battle, as he can draw upon the life force of his enemies to fuel his own magic. But his talents don't end there. Gorin has mastered the art of inducing sleep, a skill that allows him to incapacitate opponents with a mere thought, as the body can shut down at will. It takes a very strong-minded person to ignore Gorin's sleeping spell. Whether it's a single target or a group, he can send them into a deep slumber, leaving them vulnerable and defenseless. One of Gorin's most feared abilities is his power to dispel magic. This rare gift allows him to nullify the spells and powers of any evil witch or wizard in his presence, rendering them powerless and unable to defend themselves. It's a skill that has earned him both admiration and fear among his peers in the Magic Kingdom, as few can stand against him when he chooses to wield this ability. Gorin is also a master of elemental magic, with the ability to summon thunderbolts at will. In the heat of battle, he can call down devastating strikes of lightning, obliterating his enemies with a force of nature that few can withstand. He can also create a thunderbolt whip that can snap his opponents into smithereens. But perhaps his most mysterious and awe-inspiring power is the ability to perform reincarnation. This rare and taxing spell allows Gorin to bring a being back to life, but it comes at a great cost. The process drains him of immense energy, and he can only revive one being at a time. This power is not something he uses lightly, as it takes a toll on his own life force. But in desperate times, it can be the difference between victory and defeat in a heated battle. Gorin carries a secret burden that has haunted him since his youth. Cursed by an evil witch when he was just a boy, Gorin's life has been marked by a transformation that few could ever imagine. By day, he is a stunningly beautiful man, but when night falls, the curse takes hold, and Gorin's form shifts into that of a breathtakingly gorgeous woman. Though his physical appearance changes, his powers remain the same, and he is still Gorin in mind and spirit, albeit cloaked in a different, equally mesmerizing visage. This transformation is not just a physical change, it is a source of deep internal conflict for Gorin. He fears what others might think if they knew of his curse, dreading the possibility that it could alter how they perceive him as a warrior and a person. In his eyes, this is a burden he must bear alone, a secret too dangerous to share even with those he fights alongside. He believes that revealing this curse could undermine the trust and respect he has earned, and might create unnecessary complications among the Trinity warriors. So he chooses to keep it hidden, determined to maintain his outward appearance of unwavering confidence and control. In the end, this revelation could either strengthen the Trinity warriors, bringing them closer together through mutual understanding and acceptance, or it could tear them apart, leaving them vulnerable to the very enemies they seek to defeat. The outcome remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the path forward will not be easy, and the choices they make will shape the fate of their mission, and perhaps even the world they are trying to save. King Ramos of the Werewolf Kingdom, Silverstone, has chosen the infamous werewolf warrior Federico, also known as the Crazy Werewolf, to represent their kind on this perilous mission. Federico is a name that sends chills down the spine of those who have heard of his exploits. Known for his unpredictable nature, Federico is an edgy beast in every sense of the word. He doesn't care about social norms or what others think of him. A free spirit who fiercely dances to the beat of his own drum. He lives life to the fullest on his own terms, driven by instinct and raw emotion. Federico is notorious for being brutally honest and direct, often speaking his mind without any regard for how his words might affect others. He is unapologetically himself, embracing his wildness with pride, and his bluntness is matched only by his intensity in battle. He is not the kind to sugarcoat anything. If he has something to say, he says it, and he doesn't care if it hurts your feelings. This no-holds-barred attitude has earned him a reputation among werewolves and other creatures as someone who can't be controlled or predicted. His raw personality is complemented by his extraordinary physical abilities. Federico possesses immense super strength and blinding super speed, both of which make him a terrifying force on the battlefield. When he fights, his unpredictable nature and unrelenting ferocity make him almost impossible to anticipate, leaving his enemies with little to no chance to defend themselves. One of his standout abilities is his exceptional super sight. Federico can see great distances, making him a perfect scout and tracker. His eyes can spot an enemy from miles away, giving him an advantage in both combat and reconnaissance. His sense of smell is just as impressive, allowing him to distinguish between thousands of different scents. This skill is so refined that he can track down anyone, anywhere in the world, no matter how well they try to hide. If someone is foolish enough to think they can escape him, they're sorely mistaken. What makes him particularly lethal to vampires is his silver-powered claws. His giant violent scratches are capable of slicing through steel as if it were butter. Against vampires, these claws are a death sentence, capable of killing them with a single swipe. His hands become weapons of mass destruction, and his enemies know that a scratch from Federico means certain death. Federico's most fearsome ability, however, is his mastery over his use of shadows. He can use darkness to his advantage, blending into the shadows seamlessly and becoming virtually invisible to his enemies. His presence is masked by the night itself, allowing him to hide, stalk, and wait in complete silence until the perfect moment to strike. Enemies won't see him coming until it's too late. One minute they're safe, the next they feel his razor-sharp teeth sinking into their flesh, tearing them apart with pleasure. King Ramos knows that Federico is the perfect werewolf for this mission. Despite his chaotic and untamed nature, Federico's skills are unmatched, and his dedication to his kind and loyalty to the werewolf realm is undeniable. Ramos understands that this crazy werewolf might not play well with others, but when it comes to getting the job done, there is no one more reliable. Federico's directness, his raw strength, and his unwavering confidence in his abilities make him the ideal candidate for this dangerous mission. He may be wild, rude, and a bit crazy, but his unpredictability could be the key to dealing with this new powerful vampire without hesitation or overthinking. The Kingdom of Silverstone could not ask for a more formidable warrior. And last, but certainly not least, Queen Silverada of the Vampire Kingdom, Mercerville, has chosen one of her most formidable vampire warriors, Zurar, to join the mission. Zurar is a vision of silent beauty, a figure who carries herself with a proud, almost ethereal grace. She is gorgeous but deadly, a perfect embodiment of the classic vampire allure that conceals a dangerous core. With an air of mystery that surrounds her every move, Zurar is the kind of presence that commands attention only with her eyes. Like all vampires, Zurar possesses super strength and super speed, but what sets her apart from others of her kind is her unique ability to create devastating red energy blasts from her heavy scratches. Her hands are not just weapons, they are conduits of raw power. These energy blasts can tear through opponents with ease, leaving behind only destruction and chaos. When it comes to offense, few can stand against the fury of her red energy strikes. Another ability that makes Zurar a unique asset is her method of flight. Rather than simply soaring through the air on her own, she has mastered the ability to fly by commanding an army of bats. These bats don't just serve as a mode of transportation. They are her guardians, ready to defend her at any cost. Swarming around her like a living, breathing shield, they create a nightmarish sight, blotting out the moon and stars as they carry her across the sky. Zurar is never alone. Wherever she goes, her Bat Legion goes with her. Her heat vision and X-ray vision add another layer to her combat powers. She can see through walls, detect heat signatures, and locate her enemies with pinpoint precision. There is no hiding from her gaze. The moment she sets her eyes on you, you are already in her sights. Her ability to see through illusions and physical barriers allows her to strike where the enemy is most vulnerable, turning any battlefield into her hunting ground. Zurar is a woman of few words. She prefers silence, allowing her actions to do all the talking. She moves with an enigmatic flow, drifting from one place to the next as if guided by an unseen current. This silence adds to her mystery. She is hard to predict and even harder to understand. Her calm demeanor can often make her appear detached or indifferent, but in truth, Zurar is always observing, always calculating. She is known to do unconventional things, taking paths others might never consider to achieve her goals. While she can be a team player when necessary, Zurar is often working on her own agenda. Those who underestimate her quiet nature or her innocent appearance do so at their own peril. She uses the assumptions people make about her to her advantage, luring them into a false sense of security before striking with deadly precision. Behind her serene exterior lies a stone-cold killer who never misses her mark. Queen Silverada's decision to send Zurar on this critical mission has raised many questions among the vampires. Why this particular vampire who seems to follow her own path more than she does anyone else's? Is there something more at play here? Another layer of intrigue that the Queen of the Vampires has kept hidden from the other royals? One cannot help but wonder if Zurar's presence on this mission is part of a larger scheme, a secret agenda that only she and her queen know. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. With Zurar in play, the mission just got a whole lot more complicated and more interesting. The other warriors would be wise to keep an eye on her and keep their guard up at all times, for in the world of vampires, nothing is ever as it seems. The humans, ever vigilant and aware of the undercurrents of danger in their country, have begun to notice the strange and unsettling events unfolding around them. Whispers travel from city to city, town to town. Rumors of a powerful and mysterious vampire who is turning humans into vampires, creating the cult following that is steadily growing. Human spies, just as diligent and skilled as the werewolf spies, have been working tirelessly to gather intelligence on this emerging threat. They have infiltrated circles of influence, eavesdropped on hushed conversations, and pieced together fragmented clues, eventually bringing this concerning information back to President Tamahawk. Rather than react impulsively or declare a civil war against the vampires that could tear the nation apart, President Tamahawk takes a measured and logical approach. She understands the delicacy of the situation and the potential ramifications of a hasty decision. Instead of alarming the populace or tipping off any hidden enemies, she chooses to handle this matter with discretion and precision. To that end, she deploys one of her most skilled secret agents, a man with the code name Oviedo. Oviedo is a human who possesses no supernatural abilities or enhanced physical traits, but what he lacks in powers, he makes up for with his exceptional talents. He is a master of disguise and a peerless manipulator, capable of blending seamlessly into any environment or adopting any persona needed for the task at hand fairly quickly. Oviedo can switch between identities as easily as one might change clothes, altering his appearance, demeanor, and even his voice to suit the situation. He has an uncanny ability to modulate his voice across a wide range, from high to low, from masculine to feminine, as it spots on his desired disguise. While this might sound like a simple parlor trick, when combined with his incredible skills, it becomes a highly effective tool for extracting information. He can slip into the role of an old beggar woman one moment, a commanding officer the next, and still later a young student, all while convincing those around him that he is exactly who he appears to be. But that's just half of what he can do, as he has mastered another ability, which is to critically read people very effectively. Oviedo is a master at using his language, vocabulary, and body language to spot the lies that others tell in face or voice value. He understands the subtle cues, tiny shifts in eye contact, breathing heavy or light, a momentary hesitation in speech, a twitch of the hand that betray a person's untruths. More importantly, he knows how to use those lies against them. In tight situations, he can manipulate conversations to his advantage, leading his opponents to reveal more than they intended, and often giving him the upper hand without them even realizing it until it's too late. President Tamahawk's directive for Oviedo is abundantly clear. He is to travel across the country, infiltrating the areas where humans are rumored to be seeking transformation into vampires. Gather as much information as possible about this vampire cult leader and, most importantly, to uncover the identity and true intentions. Oviedo must work carefully, discreetly observing, questioning, and reporting back directly to the president with his findings, even if it means fighting some cult humans along the way, which a secret agent such as Oviedo won't be a problem at all. But there's an added layer to his mission that carries significant risk. If Oviedo encounters this mysterious and powerful vampire, he is authorized to take him out by any means necessary. It's a dangerous task, especially for a human with no superpowers to fall back on. But Oviedo's strength lies in his wits and his willingness to do whatever it takes to protect his country. There is also the potential for a more complicated dilemma to arise. During his mission, Oviedo may, or rather will, cross paths with the Trinity warriors, Gorin, Federico, and Zurar, each representing their respective kingdoms of witches, werewolves, and vampires. Oviedo will not know that these warriors are on a similar quest, but their interests may not align perfectly with those of the human. Oviedo will have to make a critical choice. Should he collaborate with them in hopes of combining their strengths against the common vampire threat, or does he see them as rivals with their own hidden agendas? If the latter, he may find himself working against them, using his skills of deception and manipulation to outmaneuver even his supposed allies. The road ahead is fraught with uncertainty and danger, but Oviedo is no stranger to danger. In the dark alleys and undercurrents of intrigue, that is where he truly thrives. For the good of Gala Island, he will uncover the truth, one way or another. As the Trinity warriors embark on their mission, they move with purpose. They are each driven by the weight of responsibility placed upon them. Unbeknownst to them, their adversary is not only aware of their approach, but has been waiting for this confrontation with a patience that belies his dark ambition. King Lotus, as he is known to his loyal human cult followers, is no ordinary vampire. To his devoted followers scattered across the country, they gave him the title of being the one true king of all vampires, that is to be destined to rise and conquer the world. Whispers of his name have spread like wildfire among those humans who seek the allure of immortality, and many mortals have willingly offered themselves to his cause, embracing the transformation into vampires to serve their dark master. These followers believe in a prophecy that foretells King Lotus's ultimate triumph, not only over the three kingdoms of Nashua, Silverstone, Mercerville, and Encantra, but over the world of man itself. The prophecy declares that King Lotus will first conquer the world of men, turning every last human into a vampire, thereby ensuring his dominion over all. Yet, King Lotus is not deluded into thinking he can achieve this grand conquest alone. By his side are his 4 wives, also known as the Queens of Chaos, each as formidable as they are loyal to their mad, crazy, ruthless, power-hungry husband. These women are not merely his wives, they are his most trusted enforcers. Queen Ariella is a vampire, much like King Lotus himself. She is a master of seduction and manipulation, able to bend the will of mortals and immortals alike to her own. With her icy beauty and deadly charm, she is the one who infiltrates the hearts of men, only to leave them as hollow shells, enslaved to her will till the end of time. Queen Serenity is a powerful witch. She weaves spells of such potency that even the most seasoned sorcerers tremble in her presence. Her loyalty to her husband, King Lotus, is absolute, and her magic is the backbone of his growing empire. She binds the forces of nature and the elements themselves to her will, creating storms of fire and lightning that devastate all who oppose her. Queen Roxana is a werewolf, fierce and unrelenting. Her raw power and primal instincts make her a terrifying opponent in battle. As Queen of the Werewolves, she commands legions of lycans who obey her every command without question. She is the embodiment of untamed savagery, and her love for King Lotus ensures that his enemies are torn apart before they even realize they are under attack. Queen Isabel is perhaps the most dangerous of them all, precisely because she is human. Unlike the others, Queen Isabel possesses no supernatural abilities. Instead, she is a master strategist and manipulator, capable of outwitting even the most cunning adversaries. She understands the minds of men, the intricacies of human nature, and uses this knowledge to further her beloved King Lotus's agenda. She is the one who sows discord among their enemies, turning allies against each other and ensuring that chaos reigns wherever she goes. Together, these four queens form the pillars of King Lotus's power, each bringing their own brand of chaos and destruction to his cause. They are not just his enforcers, they are his partners. In the grand design of world domination, King Lotus sits on his dark throne, a serene expression on his face as he contemplates the challenges coming his way. He is fully aware that the superhero and supervillain communities will play a crucial role in the success or failure of his plans. Their decision to either oppose or support his conquest will be a significant factor in the unfolding events. However, King Lotus is not one to be easily deterred. He has already considered these possibilities and has plans in place for every eventuality. But for now, he is content to wait patiently, as his constituents are willing to fight for him. The Trinity warriors are on their way, as he knew they would be. He foresaw this moment, predicting that the kingdoms would unite their greatest champions to stand against him. It is a confrontation he has eagerly anticipated, a test of his power and the strength of his beloved queens. King Lotus remains confident, for he knows that they are walking into a carefully laid trap. Every step they take brings them closer to him, and every choice they make only serves to tighten the noose around their own necks. In the dim light of his throne room, King Lotus closes his eyes and smiles. The game is about to begin, and he is more than ready to play. The world will soon witness the rise of a new king. A king who will reign not just over vampires, but over all beings, mortals and immortals alike. And when the dust settles, it will be his name that echoes through the ages, remembered as the one who brought the world to its knees. King Lotus sits confidently on his throne, with his loyal cult of humans and vampires at his command, and the formidable might of his four queens by his side. King Lotus is not the true mastermind behind the rising tide of chaos. Instead, he is merely a pawn, controlled by a far more powerful entity lurking in darkness, a being so ancient and malevolent that even the most feared vampires dare not speak it. King Lotus's power is growing by the night, and soon the world will be plunged into darkness. The imposter vampire will soon discover that he is not the true king, but merely a pawn in a much larger and deadlier game. And at that moment he will realize that the Trinity warriors will put him out of his misery once and for all by watching his beloved cult followers and his kingdom crumble slowly but surely, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.